Hi, welcome to First Sense Friday. Thank you for joining me. I'm grateful that you take the time out to watch this whenever you can watch it. I realize that the middle of the day can be a little bit challenging to be on your phone or your computer and to log into whatever's going on in Facebook land. So I appreciate, Mario, knew you're on vacation. Maggie, you're on vacation. You're still checking in? You guys rock. So please stand in the ocean for me, please. So this Friday, it's gonna be mix it up a little bit and talk a little bit about the subject matter that's you see shows up in the blog in a couple about an hour after I do this, but also an announcement. So but the subject matter for this week is about how much space, if any, are you loaning out to other people and not collecting rent. So if you think of your head as a house, right? And there's all these different rooms within there. And our brain works that way. You know, it likes little compartments. And it does very well at putting things away. And then, like, you put it up in the attic and it shows, and then you're looking for something and it's stuck under the eaves, or you're cleaning stuff out and you're like, I thought I got rid of that. Only to find out that it's still packed up, it's still there. And there is a lot of habit or process that happens in being human, that the information as we're growing up, as you're a child, as you're absorbing and all this stuff's going in, and it tends to go to different areas. So the attic is where I think a lot of past crap or trauma, overthinking happens in the attic. So it's, of course, your cabeza, you know, your brain. And then if you think about the family room, I mean, that right there tells you what I'm going to talk about, right? How much of the family environment growing up, your community, all of that has contributed to how you think about yourself. And as a quick overview, it's a long blog this week, so I'll let you read it. But as a quick overview, how much old furniture do you still have sitting around in your family room that isn't even yours? You know, a lot of the times I'll hear that people have the furniture from their parents and their grandparents, and that's lovely. I'm not saying don't keep heirlooms, but what about the metaphoric and what about the emotional connection to that as well? So think about your home, or think about a home if you happen to live in one like myself. It's a little microscopic, and it maybe doesn't stretch out and have a den or a family room or a back sun porch or anything like that. But think about your home and, you know, relate it to yourself. Are you holding stuff in your heart center and in your emotions that could be bagged up and maybe put at the curb? And like Jane said, most of us are carrying too much stuff. We're allowing our perception of ourselves and how we live to be determined by what other people have told us and maybe what they're still telling us. I was working with somebody today who wanted to tell me all about how her dad was as a child, and I said, well, no disrespect, but aren't you in your 40s? At some point, we have to decide that, yes, that absolutely contributes to who I am today, how I got here. But at some point, we have to start saying, I've been an adult longer than I lived in my parents' home. Or I am now smart, conscious, and able to put together my own concepts. Perhaps I should look at what mine are rather than what I picked up along the way when I wasn't paying attention. So it can be difficult to release these tenants that have been living in your home and not paying rent. But it's incredibly important to walk around yourself. And if you need to break it out like a home, use that metaphor, but walk around within yourself and see, what do you still have that's not yours, and what tenants are living there, and they didn't give you any rent this month, so they need to beat feet and get the heck out. And for those of you who have adults living in your home, if they're not paying rent, they need to go too. So there needs to be a contribution there, because you're contributing then to their poor habits. And then they literally are people living in your house not paying rent, and that's not cool. So check out the blog. It'll be posted in about another hour or so. Rather than take the time to reiterate what that is, I thought I'd talk about this announcement that I have. I'm so excited because I actually sat down yesterday and recorded the first few episodes of the podcast. So part of this Facebook Live for the last year has been preparing myself and content, and what would I bring to the table, and what do you guys want to hear, and all of that stuff into the podcast format. And I'm using Allison Larkin Presents, the studio in West Stockbridge, and so excited to be able to have product out there that you guys can access whenever you want. However your method of listening to these things comes about, and you can keep them, download them, do whatever that you wish with them, and it will go live April 3rd, which we are totally bucking the whole, which is Vicky way, let's face it, but the whole suggestion of dropping a podcast on a Friday or a Monday, and we are going with Wisdom Wednesday. So the podcast will be dropping on Wednesday. The first two will drop April 3rd, and then each Wednesday after that. And the way that I've set it up is the first 8 shows will be instructional. It'll be a lot like sitting in a class with me, except that we won't be able to do the dialogue back and forth, but the information will be yours to use and hopefully to practice and to go a little bit further than I do on these Fridays. And these Fridays will then become, go check out the podcast. I'll still be popping on. I'll still be offering whatever the thought of the day or the challenge for the week thing. It is. Maggie is my favorite niece. What I do, you're making me spill my secrets. So each of my nieces, I don't do it for the nephews. That's kind of mean, isn't it? Each of my nieces, when it's their birthday, they're my favorite niece. So for that day, they are my favorite for the whole world to see. And then, well, Mary too, because she took me to the float tank. She got an extra day this month, or this year. So, still waiting for the others can get bonus points if they show up. Josh, thanks for asking. The podcast is going to be pushed to whatever platform. It'll be on, Apple Podcasts, they're calling it now. I can't remember the name of the other one. So Android will be able to get it. You can listen to it off of any of the apps that your phone or the computer access. And then when you subscribe, for those of you, maybe there's some who don't do podcasts, they're the best thing, like so much fun. And you'll be able to subscribe, and then it'll just show up in whatever app you use. I'm completely drawing a blank on Striper, something. Where's my Josh Reese? He's the one who is editing all of this for me and knows all that information. So it will be going after the 8 shows drop in the series. I'm also going to have people on that I'll be interviewing. And my intention is to help create a community where we all learn from each other, because we're all intuitive. It's called Intuition, Your First Sense. And because I think it's the first, not the sixth, and I'm hoping to be able to impart whatever knowledge I have to help people garner their own intuition and begin practicing it. And then, so the people that I will have on are people that I find interesting because it's my podcast, and that I think are connecting with that intuitive side of themselves, whether they know it or not. There could be some guests who think, I'm not intuitive at all. Get them in the chair, and we realize that, of course you are. Everybody is. So Wisdom Wednesday is when they'll drop, and this will then also lead to classes, and then the second series, which I'm not going to tell you what it's called yet because I haven't written it yet, so I don't know. But the first series is literally explaining what is your first sense. How are you wired? How do you use this? Where do I look for it in my life? How is it going to help my life? Can I use this in my personal life? Can I use this in business? What are some of the myths that we've been told about intuition? And just a bunch more I keep calling them classes instead of podcasts. Guess where my head is. And then this will allow me to also spread the message and have it be in a free format. That's also important to me. I need to charge for my services. Otherwise, I can't do these things. It is not free to do a podcast. It might be if you don't want quality. I want quality, man. So I hope you'll tune in, but also let me know, what would you be interested in learning? If you could, this is kind of a scary thought, but if you could take Vicki on a walk with you, what would we be discussing? What do you want to talk about? Because these are the things that help me to develop the series that will then become the learning platform that leads to the classes, that also leads to the stage and webinars and in-person retreats. Those, keep looking for those. That's a 2020 thing. So I'm so very grateful for each of you who has tuned in, left a comment, shared the Facebook Live. Of course, it'll be posted all over social media when they're available. And I really hope that you, this allows you to come into the virtual Vicki community, and we get to play and have fun, and then create some of the tools that has you creating whatever life you want, because it's not up to me to tell you what kind of life to live. I do feel like it's part of my role in this lifetime to bring the knowledge so that you can then decide what to do with it, should you want to listen to it. So it'll be a lot of fun. I had so much fun recording yesterday and flying off of whatever was popping up. And I take in definitely a bullet point, but then a lot of it is stream of consciousness. And I have all the years of teaching that I pull on, and that brings in all of your excitement. When I'm sitting in that booth, I can feel everybody's energy, and then that just takes it that much further. So I appreciate it. And Kelly, I love those pooches. Oh, it's hard for me to go on a walk when there's a lot of dogs coming at me, because I feel like I have to stop and say hi to all of them. But I really, I miss my pooch. So I appreciate the canine love I get from the rabbit. Doesn't like going for walks. I don't know what his problem is, lazy bunny. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And check out the blog and you'll get more information. The blogs will continue, and we'll have whatever subject matter is popping for me that week. And I hope you're excited about this. I've been saying it for 4 or 5 years. It felt really good to get in there and to do it. And if you're interested in being a guest, contact me, because we'll be recording a bunch of interviews coming up so that we can drop them in along the way. So if you have an interest in that, let me know. I want to help promote and support other people as much as I have felt supported by my universal community, all of you included. So thank you. Check into yourself, to bring it back to the beginning, because you know I have to drop a challenge here. And checking into yourself and taking a little bit of household inventory of, are there voices, are there people, are there belief systems and stuff that are living with inside of you that you no longer need, and you could do a little spring cleaning and take them out to the curb. Recycle, but don't recycle your belief systems that aren't supporting you. All right. So thank you so much. I'm so excited. And thank you to Josh Reese, who has really done, oh, he's been such a support. I would not be at the point I'm at with this without him. So make sure to do a few thank yous to him when you hear the content, because he's been a big help. And I wish you all the best. Thank you so much. Bye.